Hey friends, happy Tuesday and welcome back to another weekly What's for Dinner. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I am Taylor and I share What's for Dinner videos like this typically every Monday, but yesterday was Indigenous Peoples Day and we went to a local Indigenous Peoples event and saw some dancing, saw some people play lacrosse. We tried to go on a trolley ride, but it was full and there was no more times for it. So we missed out on that. But we also played a game, a little dice game, which Elijah won, so that was pretty cool. But the whole day was fun and we spent it with friends and we learned some new things. So that is why there was no video yesterday, because I did not have time to get this video edited. And now it is Tuesday, very early. I was up at 7 a.m. Before the sun was even up, getting this edited and ready for you guys. So as always, any recipes that I mentioned will be linked down below. If you like these kinds of videos, I hope you will subscribe. Now let's go ahead and get into this week's What's for Dinner. This week, each of the kids chose a recipe to help make, and Lily chose red beans and rice. This is one of her favorite meals that I make, and she wanted to help make it this week. So she started off by cutting up some smoked sausage, and we've got that in a frying pan, getting all nice and browned. And the recipe for this will be linked down below. The only thing that we do different is adding the smoked sausage. This is not in the recipe. So we just brown it till it's really browned, and then we remove it from the pan and set it to the side. And then we follow the recipe as it's written. We start off by melting some bacon grease, about 2 tablespoons of bacon grease, and about a tablespoon of butter. And then once that's all melted, she's going to add in the seasoning, which is a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, some Creole seasoning, and some salt and pepper. I don't do too much salt because the Creole seasoning is the Tony's Creole seasoning and it does have salt in it. But I do always test it later on to see if it needs any more seasonings. And I think you'll see Lily do that later, and she'll add some more salt and pepper to it. And you just cook that in the butter and bacon grease for about a minute till those spices can bloom. And then we are adding in 3 cans undrained of beans. And the recipe is, of course, red beans and rice, but Aldi doesn't carry canned red beans. They carry canned kidney beans, though, so we just usually use kidney beans. I've done this. I think the first time I did it was with red beans that I got on markdown at Kroger, but typically I just use kidney beans because that's what is available. So we added those in along with about 1/4 cup of water, and then we are going to go in with a potato masher and mash up some of those beans until it starts to get to be the consistency that we want. And then we just continue to cook this over a medium heat, simmering it for 10 to 15 minutes until it started to thicken up a little bit. And then she made a can of corn on the side. It's actually a can of regular corn drained with a can of cream corn, and she seasoned that with salt, pepper, and some butter. And then once the beans had simmered for about 15 minutes, then we added back in our smoked sausage, and we served this on top of some white rice that she also made in the Instant Pot using my perfect white rice recipe that will be linked down below. Saturday, it was Elijah's turn to help make dinner, and he picked chicken parm, but I didn't want to make that from scratch, and neither did he, honestly. So we used these Parmesan herb chicken tenders, which they have changed because it's always been tenders in the name, but they've always been more of the size of a fillet. But this time they were actually tenders, so that was kind of disappointing, and we were like, well, we'll just have to make it work. So we got them all out on the air fryer rack, and then he's putting them in there on about 400 for 15 minutes. And then while those are cooking in the air fryer, he's bringing some salted water to a boil to cook some spaghetti. And then he is also going to start warming up some marinara sauce in a small pot. And then he's also going to get our breadsticks on a baking sheet to bake in the oven. Lots of stuff that he has to be doing for this meal. Once the chicken tenders were done, then I spooned on some of that marinara sauce that he heated up, and then he is going to sprinkle everything with some mozzarella cheese, and then we put this back in the air fryer for about 5 minutes so that the cheese could get nice and melty. So this is what he called our Olive Garden night. We also had some salad on the side with the Olive Garden dressing, and then we've got our breadsticks, kind of like Olive Garden, not nearly as good. And then we just kind of cut up the chicken tenders into little bite-sized pieces and had that on top of our spaghetti. And it was pretty good. I am disappointed in those Parmesan crusted tenders, although they always have had tenders in the name. But I'm disappointed that they changed them because I like them the way that they were. We had a late lunch, so we decided not to cook dinner. Now it's 7 o'clock and everybody's hungry. And me and Andy are gonna figure out something. You're making a can of green beans?
Yeah.
And what else? You don't know?
I don't know.
But definitely green beans. The kids are having leftover red beans and rice. Both mine and Andy's meals were just like a mixture of stuff. I had this tuna packet that I did not like. It was everything bagel seasoning. I'm sorry, it's salmon. And then I had some pork rinds and some cottage cheese and some hot pickles. Andy had some sort of tuna packet that was like a southwestern tuna something. I might have had beans in there. I don't remember. But he had that. I think he liked it. And then he had the green beans with hot sauce on them, some of his little lentil curls from Trader Joe's, and then some of his habanero spicy cheese. Monday we had cheeseburger crescent ring because Lily requested this. It's been quite a while since we had it, so I made it. I believe this has its own full recipe that I will link down below. I just was not feeling like pulling out the camera while I made this night, so I did not record me doing it step by step. But it was delicious. I put ketchup and mustard and pickle juice in there, and so then it tastes like a cheeseburger, American cheese, all wrapped up in crescent dough, and then we had a salad on the side. Last week we had quite a few days that were still in like the 80s, so I decided to try to squeeze in our favorite summer meal, which is Cowboy Caviar. Of course, if you've been here all summer, you know we've had this more times than I could even count. And then it makes a big batch, so we had it 2 nights. We had it the first night with steak, and then some cilantro lime rice, of course, you know, chips, salsa, that kind of thing on the side. I did forget avocado, which was disappointing to have it for the last time with no avocado. And then for the second night, we did the same thing, but this time I did chicken. And typically we do the chili lime chicken skewers from Aldi. They did not have them anymore. I think they're like maybe done for the season. So instead I just seasoned up some chicken breast with some cilantro lime seasoning that I had in the pantry, and then I cooked that in the air fryer and then sliced it up and had that with the same stuff. The Cowboy Caviar recipe, the cilantro lime rice recipe, and even the steak recipe will all be linked down below. You can go watch me make it step by step. And then finally for Thursday night, I made some chicken thighs in the air fryer. I thought there was more chicken thighs in the package than there was. There was only 3. So the kids split a giant one, and then Andy and I each got one, and then there was no leftovers. And then I made some little baby potatoes and green beans on a big sheet pan in the oven. I like to get them nice and crispy, and even Elijah's starting to come around on those green beans. I looked over and he was eating something. I was like, "What you eating?" He said, "A green bean." And I was like, "Oh, you like them now?" And he's like, "Kinda." So the more I make them, the more he starts to like them, I guess. Now I wanted to do a quick shout out to all of my channel members. Thank you to all 20 of you who choose to support me and my channel and my family in an additional way every month. And it really means a lot to me that you guys continue to do that, even though I feel like I'm not very good at doing extra channel member perks. You do, however, get your member shout outs every week, which really means a lot to me. So if you don't know, you can become a channel member. It's down below next to my name. You should see a join button. Or if you log in to YouTube on like Google Chrome or whatever internet browser you prefer to use, you should see it on like my YouTube channel page right next to my name and the subscribe button. And you get some extra channel member perks like these shout outs every week, as well as the emojis on the screen that I made myself, the little smiley face and the pointer. And I do plan to make more. I'm just so busy. I hoping that with the winter coming and I'll be home more and I'll be able to get some stuff like that done. So yeah, that kind of thing, some behind the scenes pictures, things like that. So check that out if you are interested. But that is going to be it for this week's What's for Dinner. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave me a thumbs up. Also, let me know down in the comments if you plan on making any of the recipes that I mentioned here today. Make sure you are subscribed, and I will be back tomorrow actually with the grocery haul for the week. Hope you'll have a great week, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.